What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Heliocentric Podcast, hosted by yours truly, Pierre, Pee Wee the Plug, and Dreesen. As always, everybody watching at home on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button for me. And if you're new and you enjoy this type of content, make sure you subscribe. For my audio listeners, wherever you are, wherever you listen, head over to that platform and give this podcast a 5-star like and review. It is always much appreciated. Y'all don't know how much that means and how much this helps this podcast. So please head over and do that if you haven't already. Now, I will say this. We start in March. March is a beautiful month to me. Tomorrow, March 5th, is my birthday. I'll be turning 29. Round of applause for me. I'm becoming an old man. I love getting old. Y'all comments saying, oh, man, P, you're getting old. You're almost 30. It ain't going to bother me. I'm one of those few people in the world who loves getting old. And I'm like fine wine, baby. I age better with time. You get what I'm saying? But no, besides the fact of tomorrow being my birthday, I just think that March is one of those months for me where I just love the vibes. First things first, obviously, March Madness. March Madness is on its way. We are a couple of weeks away from that. I want to say this loud and clearly because a lot of people have been asking. You are going to get college basketball content from me, and it's going to be on this channel. So I will say it again, like I said in the intro. If you enjoy this type of content or that type of content, make sure you subscribe because you're definitely getting college basketball March Madness content on this channel. I already got a video that's planned out. That'll probably drop next week. And then after that, we should have Selection Sunday soon. And then once we get Selection Sunday, we'll do a bracket video. And then probably after that, we'll revisit that bracket video, kind of do like a reaction or update to see how all of our brackets look, a couple of games in or around the Elite 8 or something. Look how busted our brackets are because nobody ever can create the perfect bracket. And then outside of March Madness, baseball. For those of you that don't know, I am a very, very, very big baseball guy. As you can see behind me to the left a little bit, all of these figurines are baseball players. You know what I'm saying? I love baseball. A lot of people don't know that about me. I played baseball when I was younger, and it's one of those things that just allows me to have peace. And when March comes around, obviously we have spring training. Then the end of March, you have the season starting. You got MLB The Show coming out. I don't know where y'all live, but if you live around places like I do, you start to see the grass being cut on the baseball diamonds around the local communities. You can just smell it in the air. Baseball is coming back. You driving around and you hear the pitches hitting the glove or the throws hitting the glove, the bat swinging and the ball off the bat. If it's youth baseball, you're hearing the metal. It's just a beautiful time. I love March. And here in Chicago, as unpredictable as the weather sometimes is, it has been beautiful. And because the winter and the Windy City hit so hard during those cold months, whenever we get that 60 and that 70, it starts to just feel good. It's just good vibes and good energy, and we're a lot more closer to the summer. And then, of course, because this is the Heliocentric Podcast, it's March for the NBA. We're getting closer and closer to the playoffs. The second half of the season is really, really here. We're about to start seeing a lot of good basketball, and I think that's a good segue to start this podcast. Yesterday, you would think that you were going to probably get some good basketball with the Warriors and the Celtics. You have the Celtics, who are the best basketball team in the league. They've been that since the start of the year. On paper and on the court, they just have everything besides probably depth. All right, they don't have lethal or elite depth, but when you have that type of starting five, who really cares? But yeah, yesterday they beat the hell out of the Warriors. They won by 52 points. They are, I believe, the first team in NBA history to have to have 3 games that they won by 50 in a single year. I believe that they're the first. Yes, they're the first team to have 3 50-point wins in a single season. So the Celtics are starting off, or I don't want to say starting off because we're in the second half, but they're having one of those years where they already are in the 40-20 rule that Phil Jackson created, which means you want to win 40 games before you get 20 losses. They're well beyond that. They're 48-12. They hit that threshold. The Thunder hit that threshold. The Timberwolves, and then the Nuggets. So I don't know. I can't remember if I think the Bucks did as well. I believe the Bucks are in that 40-20 rule as well. I may be mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all let me know in the comments. But the Celtics are one of those teams. So as far as those stats go, the Celtics are making their way towards having one of those years where they can get that championship trophy back at the Garden, at the TD Garden, because it's been a while since Boston, with such a rich culture, has won an NBA championship. It's been a decade plus since that '08 championship with Doc Rivers, Rondo, KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. But back to the game. They destroyed the Warriors. There's not really much to say about the actual game because they gave them an old-fashioned ass whooping. But the thing that was interesting about this game was all of the stuff after it, right? Draymond Green getting interviewed at his locker and telling the reporters that the game plan against Jaylen Brown was something that they came up with 15 minutes before the game, right? And I don't know if anybody watched, because if you got to the game late, it was no point in even watching. But the Warriors had this game plan, this genius idea of, hey, we're going to not guard Jaylen Green at the perimeter. We're going to sag off of him and treat him like he's Ben Simmons or like he's an old-fashioned 2001 big who can't score past the free throw line. And credit to Jaylen Brown because he made them pay. He had, 29 points. I think he shot 50% from three that game. And in his words, he said it was disrespectful. And he also went on to say that more teams should take that strategy and use that strategy, which I ain't mad at him for saying, because shit, if I'm Jaylen Brown and y'all got me twisted enough as one of the I think the highest paid player in the league as of right now. I believe Jaylen Brown was an all-star this year, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he was an all-star. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm blanking. He was an all-star. He's been all-NBA. This is a guy who has had tremendous success in the NBA. And one of the things I love about Jaylen Brown the most, that I think he doesn't get a lot of credit for, because people got to understand that Boston is kind of like Los Angeles in a sense, as far as how people talk about them, right? So Boston has had a lot of winning during my lifetime, right? It took them a long time to get there for the Red Sox, but when I was a kid, the Red Sox had finally got past the curse and they won a championship with Theo Epstein, who eventually went over to the Cubs, and the Cubs won a World Series. Shout out to Theo. He's brilliant. I told you I love baseball, so we got a little baseball talk. But the Red Sox won a championship. The Red Sox won a couple championships in my lifetime already. The Patriots have dominated. We know they win. They got a bunch of championships. The Celtics won the '08 championship and put together that big three team. And though that was the only one, they were a pretty strong team for the next few years after that. They didn't win championships, but they went there again and they lost to the Lakers that second time, that rematch. And they were just a really good, solid playoff team and organization after that first championship. And then, obviously Brady and them boys kept doing what they was doing. The Red Sox have had some ups as of lately. They've been down. But to be able to talk about Jaylen Brown, or I say all that to say, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. So I say all that to say, like the Lakers and like other teams have won, fans, media, we kind of hate on Boston a little bit. That's what happens when you start to win too much. You remember when the Golden State Warriors were the darlings of the NBA, then they started winning. It was kind of like, yeah, we can't wait to see them lose. Like, finally, yeah, even somebody like me, I'm not scared to admit, I love Steph Curry. I love Klay Thompson. I love good basketball. They have all of that. They did everything the right way. But when they started to lose, I kind of was like, this ain't bad. I did like when they beat the Celtics. I love them winning a championship after the Kevin Durant move and everything like that. With some of the young guys and whatnot. But I ain't gonna lie, when they did have a little struggle, I was kind of like, ha ha. You know, especially as a Knicks fan. But to bring this off with, because I keep getting distracted, I say that about Jaylen Brown is he doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion, with the growth of his game. I remember Jaylen Brown as a highly touted high school basketball player. I remember Jaylen Brown with the box fro at Cal. I remember Jaylen Brown early with the Celtics when he was drafted. What was Jaylen Brown? Third overall pick, I believe. Third or fourth. I remember the early version of Jaylen Brown. He was cool. He was solid, but he wasn't anything near what he is now. And it wasn't always so clear cut of like, hey, I see the vision with that. I remember him being like this guy where you're like, hey, at the worst, he'll be a really, really solid defender. He can get out in transition, and he'll have some games where he can get hot. Kind of how we think of like Andrew Wiggins. But his growth in his all-around game has been tremendous. And yeah, some things slip. I know he's not the same type of defender. I think he could still be on any given night a really good defender, though. I think people, when you come in and you show that you have what it takes to be an elite defender, I think people always want you to live on that. But I don't think regular fans realize how hard it is to do that and also be elite offensively. So when you do have players like Kawhi who found a balance of how to do that for so many years, we should champion it, because it's very hard to be elite in both, especially when, you know, your usage starts to go up and up and up more than you've been accustomed to. So Jaylen Brown has had a essential growth. You know what I mean? I think some of that got blinded by the fact that he struggled with his left. You know what I mean? And he had a very hard time in that Warriors series when they was forcing him left and he was turning the ball over and different things like that. But when you just look at the progression of his game throughout the course of his career, he has taken major strides offensively with the jump shot, the mid-range, the three. He's always been able to attack. He's always been strong and physical, even the free throw shooting and different things like that. And as crazy as it may sound, the ball handling improved as well. I know the left has been a certain thing and it was a topic, but the ball handling definitely from when he first came in has taken major strides. So to see that player who had like a up and down year at Cal that 1 year, to see him become the player he's become, I think we have to start championing that a little bit more. I remember the summer he went to go work out with Tracy McGrady. I think that's the same summer Tatum went and linked up with Kobe. And it was just like, oh, okay. I remember me and my dad. I don't know if that was public or like super viral on social media, but I remember me and my dad like peeping that on their social medias and things and talking like, man, them boys linking up with two of the guys, they gonna come back and be dangerous. We already knew Tatum was like that, but to see Brown get in there with T-Mac and put that work in, we kind of put that on the wall. But I say that to swing all the way back around. I just think it was foolish for the Warriors to come out and play that, and then I don't want to put that on their name, but I feel like, and this is just me speculating, this is just me using my brain, just as a podcast where I could just talk. This is what we do. I kind of watched the Draymond interview part, and I felt he said, and he has, what him and Steve Kerr said was valid. Some of it was valid. But it's a way that Draymond said it where I was kind of like, I hope y'all don't think that's an excuse. I hope y'all aren't saying it as an excuse. Because the Draymond I know and the Draymond that I've seen be the voice he is in a locker room would have been a little bit more disappointed in the performance and would have came out and said, we got our asses kicked. But this Draymond, which he might have, I'm only going off of what I saw in the locker room. He might have had several other interviews, and maybe he did say it. I want to put that out there. But I just don't like that they tried to throw that out and use that as a distraction versus the fact that they got their ass kicked by 52. Listen, I don't give a damn what your game plan was. If it came 15 minutes before the game or 15 seconds before the game, there is no excuse for a Golden State Warrior team who has been as hot as they have been to get beat by 52. There's damn near no excuse for any professional team to get beat by 52. Don't matter. We've seen teams go out like the Grizzlies who missing damn near a third of the starting lineup. More than half of the starting lineup is out. The Grizzlies was able to beat y'all. There is really no excuse to go and lose by 52. And y'all still had Steph. Y'all had y'all main guys. I mean, you're missing Wiggins, but hell, they was missing Porzingis. You know what I'm saying? So I really, that's the only thing I didn't like about that. I love the mindset of like, now is the time to try that. You know what I'm saying? But also at the same time with that statement that him and Steve Kerr, because Steve Kerr came out and said, you try different things, have to pick your matchups, right? Draymond said, hey, we tried something. If it worked, oh, you got something. If you don't, then, you know, you move on from it and yada, yada, yada. But my thinking is, the Celtics, it ain't like the Celtics is a team that y'all about to face in order to get to the finals. Y'all got to win a lot of basketball games to start to figure out strategies you want to play against the Celtics. If this was the Clippers, if this was the Thunder, it would make a lot more sense. If they went and said, hey, we guarded Josh Giddey like that, and we'll live with him making those 6 threes he made in order to beat us. Because you probably might have to face the Thunder in the playoffs. If this was the Timberwolves, the Clippers, the Nuggets, you might have to face a couple of those teams if you're trying to have the run that the Warriors are trying to have in the playoffs. But the Celtics, dog, y'all got a lot of playoff games to win against a lot of good teams, because right now, as we speak, March 4th, the Warriors are 9th in the playoffs, which I don't think is too crazy. I think they still have enough time, there's enough basketball to maybe continue to climb up, because everything in the Western Conference right now is super neck and neck. The Warriors are 32-28, and the 5th seed Pelicans are 36-25. So they not that far back. You know what I mean? They 3.5, 4 games back. They almost, for around 4 games back. That is more than enough time to make up ground on that. And that could get you out of it, up to the 5th seed. Or you can get as high as the Kings. You're only 2.5 games behind the Kings at the 6th spot. So there's time to continue to play as good of basketball as they've been playing before they came into this game to maybe get out of the play-in. But as of right now, you're in the play-in, so you would have to play 2 games, right? Because the 7th and 8th Mavs will play against each other. Let's just say the Mavericks win that game, or let's say the Suns win that game, and now the Suns are going to play the Timberwolves. The Mavs get another game. The Warriors, you have to win 2 games to make it to the playoffs at the 9th seed. You have to win 2 games. And again, I am okay with that with y'all. I will put my money on y'all being capable. I don't want to act like y'all winning 2 games in the play-in to get to the playoffs is like unheard of or just like out of this world. If there was any team that I would pick to win 2 games out of this 7 through 10, these 4 teams, it would be y'all. Y'all have the camaraderie. Y'all have the chemistry. Y'all have the camaraderie. There's another word that I'm looking for. Y'all have the experience. Y'all have the experience and the cachet of what it takes to be in these type of moments and familiarity of playing in big pressure games. Y'all have done it time and time again with this core, with this coaching staff. So I believe in y'all. But even after winning those 2 games, you didn't got to go play the Thunder, who I know are young, but they beat the 40-20 rule. As of today, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is my MVP. I don't see anybody on y'all team that can slow him down and stop him from getting to where he want to get to. I don't. And y'all are probably the perfect matchup with them, because y'all rebounding a little better over y'all last 15 or so games, but y'all still lack that size. I think that's going to be the Thunder's Achilles heel. They're going to have to play a team that is like y'all, which is just super experienced. And I think it's going to be a team that has to really, really, really try to control the glass against them, which I think y'all are capable of doing at y'all best. But y'all still give up so much size to them because y'all don't have anybody that can really match up with Chet as far as the height goes. But as far as obviously size, y'all got guys that can push him around a little bit. But I think that's the recipe to beat the Thunder. You know what I mean? Like, you got to have some tremendous size and really control the glass on them, because they're not going to be the most craziest rebounding team. You know what I mean? I can see the Kings potentially giving the Thunder a little run for their money and give them a little trouble, because you have somebody like Sabonis who can go out and get a 24 rebound piece. You know what I mean? Sabonis will go get you 19 points, 24 rebounds, 9 assists. You know what I'm saying? To get your big in foul trouble with his back against the basket, trying to be a bruiser on a guy like Chet. That I see. The Warriors, it would just go off of y'all experience and Steph Curry playing out of his mind, kind of like how y'all did against the Kings. But I just think the Thunder are a different beast, and I think they're more well-rounded. And I say that I'm just making that point of saying I don't like the fact that they came out and tried to use that as an excuse. That's how it came off to me. I'm not saying that was the intention, but when I heard Draymond say, "Yeah, we came up with that game. We came up with the game plan 15 minutes before the game," and I was all for it. Shit, you know what I'm saying? Smack. Like, I don't know, man. You lose by 52. To lose by 52, I just don't like that response and that answer coming from Draymond. And I ain't mean to spend too much time just to make that end point. But again, this is a Warriors team that's ninth. They need a spark. They need, and you don't have Wiggins, who's now out with personal reasons again. Hopefully his situation is fine and y'all are able to get him back, because y'all are going to need as many bodies as y'all can get. But it's just something about the Warriors that I don't know, especially with the coach. Like, Steve Kerr is an incredible coach. We cannot take that away from him. All the success he's had, but like, they just do dumb shit sometimes. Like, I still cannot believe Jonathan Kuminga, as good as he's been, he damn near had to request a trade to get minutes. I know that seems like forever ago because he eventually started to get minutes. We're past the trade deadline and shit like that now. But don't y'all remember that? Like, there was a time. Think about how good Jonathan Kuminga's been. Think about it. Think about how good Jonathan Kuminga has been, right? Now think, this same year, there was a point in time where he was not playing substantial minutes. I'm talking about Wiggins was playing some of the worst basketball we've seen Wiggins play in a long time, and Steve Kerr was still like, hey, nope, go get him. Klay Thompson couldn't throw a rock into the ocean. And Steve Kerr was like, nah, Kuminga, not today. I know Klay is in the worst slump we've ever seen him in, but nah, you're still not playing more than 15 minutes a day. The man had to damn near request a trade to get minutes. And now when I see him playing, I'm like, oh my gosh, what was Steve Kerr thinking? Even Moses Moody, they both played really well against my Knicks. The entire team has been playing well over the last 15 or so games. Let's get that understood. But against the Knicks, I seen them both make plays where the Knicks were trying to keep themselves into the game and try to pull one out in that fourth. But I saw Moses Moody make some incredible defensive plays. Jonathan Kuminga was just all over the floor. You know what I mean? And I just think he's a great bridge gap of like Draymond and Wiggins in one. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. He's not out there making the plays and passes that Draymond Green is, but I just think he's kind of like he feels like he plays bigger than Wiggins and he's more consistent than Wiggins. But it feels like he has a little bit more perimeter game than Draymond. So it's kind of like Wiggins and Draymond together creating this wing who can defend a lot of different positions. He can run in transition and dunk. He can make a three. He can make a jump shot. He can couple dribble to the left, couple dribble to the right. Is it going to be super consistent right now? No, I think that's the next phase for him, but he still has that get out of jail free card sometimes with his athleticism. And I just think that's a good piece for the Warriors to have. The only thing that the Warriors is missing really is a big body to absorb some minutes. But that's just my thinking about the game. I know a lot of people are going to take this game and make a lot of different storylines. The Celtics are dominant. Is it the Celtics are dominant or the Warriors ass? Or is it both? Because I believe in the Warriors. I think the Warriors are probably my favorite to have a very strong second half. That's been what I was saying. But with a loss like this, I hope it's a fluke. Now for Boston, incredible. 52-point win without Porzingis. 11th straight win, y'all. 11th straight win. We talked about the 40-20 rule. They're probably going to get the 50-20 rule. They're about to hit 50 wins before they hit 20 losses. They're nowhere near 20 losses, by the way. They're 48-12. They may get 60-20. There's a chance that they can make a 60-20 rule. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm talking out of my ass because 60-20 is 80. that's 80. That's 80. And it's 82 games. So they would have to be damn near perfect, but still, they could still, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think. 48-12. Where do I project the Celtics to get? They definitely going to get, they got about, okay. So they played 60 games. They got 22 games left. Out of the next 22 games, while on an 11-game winning streak. Do they go for it? That's the thing. Do the Celtics go for it? Because they so head and shoulders above everybody that it's like, do they say, the last 4 games we chilling? Or do they say, hell no, let's get every win we can get? Because we see teams do that all the time. I say they 7 more wins in a 55 win team. Do they go for the 60? 60-22? 60-22. I say that 60-22, but even that feels short. When you look at the fact that they've played 60 games and they got 22 more games left, for them to go 60-22 means that they're going to lose 10 of the next 22 games. I don't see them going 12-2 over the last 22 games. So they're going to have 60 plus wins. They're not going to have 20 losses this year. So I was tripping when what I said was true. They're probably going to they're going to have a 60-20 rule. They're going to they're going to be a part of that 60-20 rule. They're probably going to get 60 plus wins this year. It just depends on how they fold the end of the season. They do have a tough matchup Thursday against the Nuggets. Can't wait for that. I don't know who's home or who's away. But I think that's going to be a good one because everybody's talking about, hey, the Thunder are doing their thing, the Timberwolves are doing their thing, but don't forget about the Nuggets. They still have the best player in the NBA. They're still the team to beat out west. They still have this guy, Jamal Murray. MPJ is putting up, big performances. Aaron Gordon, KCP. Like, these other teams are fun. They new. They sexy. You know what I'm saying? They're vibrant. Their colors are bright. They have these nice, cool young players, but the Nuggets are still getting shit done. So that's going to be a good one to have on Thursday. Nuggets versus Celtics. And I wanted to also throw this stat out that I seen. There's only... Since 2003, only 3 number 1 seeds from the East have made the finals. Since 2003. So over the last 21 years for the Eastern Conference in the playoffs, only 3 number 1 seeds have made the NBA Finals. And that was the 2016 Cavs, the 2013 Heat, and the 2008 Celtics that we talked about earlier in the episode. That's an interesting stat. So if I'm an Eastern Conference fan, which I am, the Knicks, hey, stay the hell away from the number 1 seed. The Celtics, I don't think they apply to this. I think the Celtics can still come out of the East very finely. But if they don't, this is some shit I am going to look at. And I'm not even one of those people who trying to always find stats to live by. But damn, that's just a very interesting thing to come across. But yeah, the Celtics are dominant. I think they go into the NBA Finals. Obviously, I'm hoping my Knicks can do something crazy. But I'm still rolling with the Celtics. Speaking of my Knicks, another segue. The injuries are just piling up. Shout out to us. Shout out to Josh Hart with the triple-double. Dante DiVincenzo had an incredible offensive performance last night. McBride stepped up, and I love the move he had on Evan Mobley, making him fall and stumble. I love the big-time three-point shot Josh Hart had, and he touched on Donovan Mitchell-Chain. Another thing to mention, they didn't have Donovan Mitchell, but still a very good win because we are behind the Cavs. They're 39-21. We're 36-25. It will be a lot closer, but obviously we've been dealing with a lot of injuries, and that's really where my mindset is. As happy as I am for the win that we got against the Cavs, I'm more focused on the fact that at this point in the season, we are the team that's just being bitten by the injury bug constantly. Still don't really have a conclusion on Julius Randle. He still could go and opt and get surgery, which that hurts to hear. But whatever is going to get him healthy, take as much time as he needs. But to have him out, OG Anunoby is out, Mitchell Robinson been out, Hardenstein is out from the last game. Brunson has a knee contusion. He'll be out with no timetable. It's just a really, really bad time for this to happen. Not even from a wins and losses perspective. Obviously, you want to win as many games as you can. But I think when I look at the Eastern Conference, we should be fine. We should be able to hold it down because I don't think Jaylen Brunson is going to miss too much time. I don't think Isaiah Hardenstein is going to miss too much time. I think we'll be solid enough to stay in float of where we are. But I'm thinking about it long-term wise for the playoffs. The more and more time OG misses, the more and more time Randall misses, the less chemistry we'll have. Or camaraderie. I cannot say that word for the life of me. Camaraderie. The less we'll have of that. Camaraderie. Help me pronounce that in the comments. We should do a whole video of me trying to pronounce that 7 times in a row perfectly. But like, we made a bunch of moves at the deadline. We made a bunch of moves all throughout the season. We went and we got OG Anunoby. We got Precious Achiuwa. We had Malachi Flynn. Then we flipped over and we go get Burks and we go get Bojan. You know what I mean? We still have a 2-way spot available if we want to go in there. We got until Monday to use that. We went in, we just got Shake Milton. You know what I mean? And I'm loving these guys that we're going to get. But even if Julius Randle comes back, or when he comes back, same thing OG, there is going to be that process of them having to mesh with some of the new guys that we got. They all have to get accustomed and adjusted to playing with each other. You know what I'm saying? Like Alec Burks does have some history of playing with Julius Randle, but he's never played with OG Anunoby. You know, Bojan and Randall, Bojan and I don't know. It's all of these different names and styles. They have to mesh, and they need time and experience with playing with each other. That's a real thing, and I think that's something that a lot of media and fans don't take into perspective when you talk about team success. Even when you look at the Pacers, everybody's been talking about the Pacers lately and the struggles that Tyrese Halliburton has had, but it's like he had dealt with an injury, and now he has to get accustomed and adjusted to playing with Pascal Siakam and also not having Buddy Hield. Like, it isn't always 2K where you just make a trade and they just get each other. It's just like, oh, hey, I know exactly where you want me to be. I know exactly where you like to attack. I know exactly what that means when you fake hesitate. Like, I'm so used to that. I know exactly what that means. That means cut. You know what I mean? Like, it's so many cues and tendencies that you might not be privy of that you have to get accustomed to. And you got players coming from different teams and different ways that they guard and defend. So I worry about that for the Knicks. And I know on numbers on the board, last podcast, we did like a panic meter. My panic meter is probably going up more since that podcast, which was like 2 days ago, just because the Brunson injury now, it worries me. At least with Randall and OG being gone, we had Brunson. And Brunson was enough of an engine to maintain us, to keep us maintained. And I don't think he's going to miss too much time, but it is concerning just to see that the injury bug is around us so much. You know what I mean? It's like even when Brunson come back, damn, is we going to all of a sudden lose DiVincenzo? Knock on wood. You know what I mean? Like, is his heart going, you know, the way he plays? Like, we need some time to get healthy, and I wish some of this stuff happened before the All-Star break, because then we could have really used that rest. But we're going to have to find a way to play through it, man, because it is getting tight in the East. We 36-25. We're one game above the 76ers. We're 1.5 game above the Magic. You know, and we're not that far away from the Heat, as much as the Pacers and Tyrese Halliburton have struggled. At the AFC, they 34-28 right there. And we still 3 or some games behind the Cavs because we had a little skid. So I need the Knicks to get healthy. And no matter where we shape up in the standings, we're going to be a dangerous team. We're going to be a dangerous team at full strength. We just have to get to full strength before the playoffs start, so some of our players can have some continuity and chemistry under their belt. Continuity. There it is. Continuity. No, it's not. Continuity isn't a word I'm struggling with. It's camaraderie. Camaraderie. I know y'all gonna be in the comments going tweaking off me not being able to say that word. And another thing that I've been seeing people talk about, and people have asked me in my comments or DMs, is do I think a lot of these injuries are related to the minutes that Thibodeau plays? It can be and it cannot be. The Jaylen Brunson one is obviously not. You know what I mean? That's like it's an actual injury that happened on the floor. But are some of these other ones are? I mean, if you want to make that argument, but he's always. It's a lot of players playing a lot of different minutes. I think it's the play style. We are a gritty team. We kind of grit and grind. We physical, and you know we have guys that like to get physical. Randall is a guy that's going downhill. He's moving around. He's setting screens. He's a strong guy that goes into the trenches on a night-in, night basis. So is Josh Hart. You know what I mean? Jaylen Brunson is the same way. He's a point guard going into the post and getting down there. You know what I mean? Mitchell Robinson is trying to block everything and rebound everything. Isaiah Hartenstein plays hard. You know what I mean? Like, we have guys that go out and play hard, and I think you combine that with the style that we play and the physicality that we play with, plus the minutes, and I think it just opens up the odds of you getting hurt more. If you're playing 40 minutes a game and you play extremely physical, and that's the brand of basketball your team plays, the chances of you getting hurt are definitely going to heighten versus being on a team that plays soft defense. Oh, we don't even guard. We just want to run up and down and shoot and dunk and do that type of shit. Then you probably won't get hurt. You know what I mean? If you're on a team that don't really care about controlling the glass, cutting your man off, being in help, taking charge. If you're a team that's not doing those things, you're probably not going to have guys getting hurt. You know, but we have a team full of guys that are willing to take charges, you know what I mean, that are willing to go attack the glass relentlessly no matter what their size is. So, you know, the injuries are going to pile up. We just have to get healthy around the right time. Wemby. Victor Wembanyama. He's the rookie of the year. I love the fact that Chet is doing this thing, and for a portion of the season, he was able to make it a conversation. But we're going to clear it up, man. David Robinson, who did it twice. Tim Duncan. It's crazy that these guys are all Spurs bigs. And Vic, the only rookies to record a game with 30-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, 5-plus assists, and 5-plus blocks. David Robinson did it twice. Victor Wembanyama has done it. Tim Duncan has done it. Victor Wembanyama has done it twice, too. He is the first rookie of all time to do it twice back-to-back games. But that's good company for him to be in. And I think these type of performances, now that they're kind of happening a little bit more consistently, the 5x5 games and things like that, him closing out the game against the Spurs with 3, the dagger and all of that, these moments piling up, it's solidifying his case. It's not only solidifying his case as the Rookie of the Year, it is making people think and consider him as the guy that will get the torch when LeBron James does call it quits. I'm interested to see where that goes. I've seen a lot of conversation about who the next face is. It's definitely hard to pinpoint. It's a funny time because usually you see the next guy in charge. You know what I mean? Like when I first started watching basketball, Kobe was inheriting it. Like that was it. You was seeing it right there. And then you saw LeBron coming, you know what I mean? And we'll get to LeBron, but it's just like, shit, hopefully Kobe give it away, because if not, LeBron might take it. You know what I mean? Like LeBron might take the crown because he's just that good as a young guy. So it's definitely interesting to see what the game is now. It's a lot different because the game in itself is different. The game is so global. It's played differently now. You got guys coming from overseas, guys coming from college. You got the G League. Guys are getting younger and younger. But then you also have the social media side where you have to be, and you have always had to be marketable and always able to, articulate yourself well and stay out of trouble. That's always been a part of being the face of a sport and even of a franchise. But the social media part of it, I think, plays a big part. And you see certain guys are just not into that, unfortunately. You know what I mean? And I think that kind of hinders them. You're never going to see Jokic, doing some TikTok shit. I don't think you're going to see Luka on TikTok talking about, if you wow, do the stanky leg, do this. I just don't think you're going to get that from certain guys. I think Vic is a guy because he's kind of immersed into it and he's so open-eyed and he's kind of used to being this guy that a lot of attention goes to because he's so tall and he's been talked about for so long and he's a phenomenon and there's so much expectation that I think he might be a little bit more willing to do those extra things. You know what I mean? Because he's coming in with that mentality versus like Luka had believers, but then you also had people who was kind of like, about Luka and not knowing how he was going to play and not knowing how he was going to translate and if he was going to be as good as he is. That's just a fact. You go back and look at some of those scouting reports around the draft. Luka had some real believers and he had a lot of real believers. But he also had some people that was kind of like, can he be the best player in the game? Could he be the best player in this draft? Which is hence why he wasn't taken first overall. You had DeAndre Ayton and Marvin Bagley taken before Luka Doncic. And then Jokic was a second-round pick. He had some years before he really took off. But Vic he's been trained to really be that guy. So I think he's going to come in and be ready for all of that and to do all of that. Shake hands, kiss the babies, as they say. He's prepared to do that. Some of these other guys, it ain't really their thing because they didn't come into the league being told or being pushed to do those things. And now that you allow them to have a few years where not really being required to do that, I ain't doing that shit. But yeah, Vic has been taking things to another level, and I've said it countless times. I'll say it again. I think the Spurs have to go into the offseason and understanding that this is not the typical rebuild. I wouldn't just sit on my hands and stay pat and say, hey, we're just going to draft and develop guy. Nah, I would try to go out and get established talent. I wouldn't shoot myself in the foot for it. But if the opportunity presented itself, we keep hearing about the Trae Young situation. If that was a situation where I can go get Trae Young and I'm the Spurs, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm definitely doing it. That is the type of talent I want. Somebody who's established, somebody who looks like they can play well with Vic, but somebody who's still not necessarily old. Trae Young is a young vet. He's a guy who's been all NBA. He's been an all-star. He's led, he's been 30-11, all of these type of different things. He's been on a playoff run. And then the rest is just filling out the rest of the roster. Trae Young, Devin Vassell, Victor Wembanyama, and you just fill the holes with as many veteran pieces and experienced players as you can get. Because while Vic is on this minimal contract of a rookie, I don't want to say minimum, but minimum contract of a rookie, take advantage and spend your money. Get as many expenses as you can get now, because when it's time to pay him, trust me, he gonna get paid. Couple other things I want to bring up before we get to the last final stretch of the episode. Devin Booker ankle injury. The Suns, it's going to hurt them. The Suns right now, 35-26, and they're 7th, and it's very tight at the bottom of that conference with the play and stuff. So Kevin Durant going to have to step up. Bradley Beal got to step up, because they're going to need wins. They really, really are going to need wins. And hopefully they can get some, because if they don't, they could see themselves as low as 10 soon. So, I'm just not a fan of all of these injuries piling up. It just feels like every day is a new injury. Brunson get hurt. Booker got hurt a couple days ago. Man, it just feel like injury after injury after injury after injury. But it's that time of the year. Stuff is starting to add up. So goodwill Booker, and hopefully the Suns can do their thing. The last part, or the last stretch of this episode, is the title. The thumbnail. I'm dedicating this to LeBron, man. 40,000 points. 40,000 points for LeBron James. 40,000. I might as well use my sound. Where's my I wish I knew which button. Let's round of applause for Bron real quick. Round of applause for Bron. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know if that's going to register on my Audacity, but I know it will for the video. My YouTube people heard the round of applause. My audio listeners, if that ain't go through, at least you heard me clap. But yeah, 40,000 points for LeBron James. And I told y'all tomorrow's my birthday, March 5th. I'll be 29. You got to understand, when LeBron James came into the league, it's 2003. I was 8 years old. And what that means is I've seen everything LeBron James has done. Not only have I seen it, I was aware. It's a difference. Like, I was born when Jordan and them was three-peating and shit like that. But I wasn't aware of what's going on. I was 3 years old. I was not aware that Jordan and the Bulls were dominating the NBA game. You know what I mean? When I was aware as an NBA fan, it was Kobe and Shaq. The start of Kobe Shaq is when I became aware of what was going on. 6 or 7 years old. And those dudes just having the game on lock and being like, oh, that Kobe dude, I'm liking that Kobe dude. And then a couple years later, LeBron James comes in. And you got to understand, I know a lot of people weren't around then, because a lot of y'all are young adults now. And so y'all probably was being born, or probably was like me when Jordan was winning his championships. Very, still babies. There was no Twitter. No Instagram, no TikTok, no Twitch. YouTube might have existed, but it didn't really exist to a lot of us in 2003. That shit really didn't. It might as well not have existed if it did exist. And LeBron James was still a real phenomenon. A real phenomenon. Like, LeBron James then was talked about like, oh man, I damn near want to say like Vic on steroids, but I know Vic was being talked about a lot. But again, Vic got the internet. It's easy to really have that shit spread. We were just like, watch ESPN, listen to ESPN 1000 on radio. LeBron was all in the newspaper. LeBron was on the cover of Slam magazines as a high schooler. On the cover of Slam, like, as a high schooler. That's a big deal. I know Imani Bates got one. I know Jabari and Wiggins were on one. Brandon Jennings and Ricky Rubio had one. But like LeBron and Telfair, like LeBron was in the middle of the Slam magazines. That's one of my earliest memories. I seen LeBron when I was a kid on the news. So what happens is the news come on at night, and before the news goes off at like 10 o'clock, there's like a little sports section. It's like a 5-minute sports section. They really talk about the local sports. Oh, the Blackhawks lost to the Boston Bruins and the White Sox beat the Mariners tonight, and Paul Konerko had a home run, and the Cubs lost to the Reds, and Adam Dunn hit 2 home runs, right? They would just go around the local stuff. Illinois men basketball face off Iowa tomorrow. And then they'll do like around the league type shit. Like if it was something crazy, like, man, check out this shot Kobe Bryant hit to win, you know what I mean? Something like that. But it wasn't real ESPN-ish. It was just like, hey, though, if something crazy around the league happened, oh, man, Aaron Rodgers is traded, they'll talk about it or they'll bring it up. But it's mostly local sports. But anyway, that happened one night, and they showed this high school game, a clip of a high school game. This is before social media and YouTube. So how you see it is TV and the news. This is what you watch. And LeBron James gets a steal. St. Vincent, St. Mary. I'll never forget those jerseys that the green and like beige gold. And he had these Tracy McGrady's on. He had the Tracy McGrady's. I used to want that shoe so bad. I never got that shoe. I should probably, after this podcast, I should see if they on GOAT and get me a pair. That's what I love doing. This being successful to me is obviously is different perks and all this stuff. I just love being able to get the shit that young me couldn't get. Say, oh shit, yeah, I used to want those shoes. I'm not even probably gonna wear them that much, but because I wanted them 12 years ago, let me get them now. But anyway, he used to have like things that cover his tattoo, like little paper things that cover his tattoos, and he did the between the leg dunk in a game, and that was a big ass deal, y'all. And that's when I was like, damn, that's crazy. And after that, seen them on the cover of Slam. Then after that, me and my brothers and KB was there, king of the fourth quarter. I don't know if he remembers, but it was me and my 2 brothers, and it was KB. And we were all at my dad's house, and my dad is a Slam magazine collector. My dad probably has Slam magazines that's older than 90% of my viewers. And what my dad did one of the times we were there, he took about 30 of the Slam magazine, or 15, maybe 15 or 20 of the Slam magazines. And if you're familiar with Slam magazines, in the middle of the magazine, there's always a poster that you can just rip out, and it's double-sided. One side may have Kobe doing a fadeaway over somebody. The other side may have Amari Stoudemire catching a lob from Steve Nash. You know what I mean? It's always, as a kid, the highlight of a Slam magazine was the middle poster. What poster were they going to put in there? Like, I remember before, I was a subscriber, and then it was at one point I wasn't subscribed anymore, and I would go to, like, the store, or Target or Walmart, and they would have, like, a magazine section, or, you know, Walgreens, and I would just buy them myself. Because, like, after we would move, my dad would unsubscribe me so that it would stop going to the old address. But it's like, I would go to the store, and the poster inside would be dependent on if I would buy it. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes Slam, and I know a lot of people, Slam did a good job having good ass posters, but they sometimes had some weak shit in there, and I'd be like, man, I ain't buying. No, man, don't buy that one. That's Yao Ming doing a hook shot. I don't want that shit. You know what I mean? Like, but for the most part, the middle of that magazine, that poster was the most important shit. And I remember my dad took about 15 to 20, I've got to be like 20 to 25 of his Slam magazines. And he went inside all of them, and he took all of the posters out, and he did it because he used to always rip it perfectly. You got to rip it perfectly, because sometimes you try to take it out too fast or too strong, you'll rip a little bit of the poster. You just take your time, you get them all out. He did that. He put a bunch of them on the table, and we had a draft. And we drafted the posters. The order of the draft was decided by 2K. We had like a little 2K tournament. And I remember I might have had first pick. And no. Yeah, I might have had first pick. And I think what my dad did was he set out the posters in like tiers. So the first round was like cool posters. Second round was the better ones. The third round got even better. That fourth round, whoo! That last round, oh shit. So I remember, like, I don't know how we was doing a draft order, but that last round I had the first pick. And that poster was the first moment I ever saw LeBron James a couple years ago on the news. It was the between the legs dunk in that high school game. That poster was on that table. And I'll never forget, I absolutely I want that one. Give me the LeBron James one. And my brother was older than me. I have two brothers older than me. One of our oldest brother, he's a couple years older. He wanted that LeBron. Like, you could tell he was older and he probably was more familiar because like his excitement for that shit was through the. I wanted it and I was happy to have it, but like you could tell he was in middle school. Like I probably was in like elementary school. I probably was a fourth grader when this happened. My brother was probably a seventh grader in middle school where they really are at school talking about, you know what I mean? LeBron, did y'all see LeBron? So he comes to me and says, hey, we all, mind you, we probably all it's four of us. That's why I feel like my dad had about 20 posters because it was four of us, me, KB, my two other brothers. We probably all got about 5 posters each. It actually felt like more, but I'm going to just go 5. And I remember my older brother coming to me and saying, listen, I'll give you every poster I got tonight for that one. I looked at him. I smiled. I said no. And I went down that story lane or that story time to just say, like, it's crazy. I never in a million years thought that like LeBron was going, like we knew he was going to be good. It was a phenomenon, but like even knowing how good he was going to be, to see 40,000 points, bro, that's some shit that we may never see again. The next person that do that is probably not even born yet. Like when we read some of these numbers and stats, right? Like you go to one of these things that I've seen, it says, to put it in perspective, to get 40,000 points, a player who averages 30 points his entire career would need to play for 20 years on average of 67 games per season. So that is equivalent to like somebody like Vic coming in. Vic would have to average 30 as a rookie. Or he can have like a not so 30-point season his rookie year. But one of those prime seasons or two of those prime seasons, he probably got to average 34, 35 like Harden. But then he also got to play 20 years and average 30 the rest of those other years. Your down year has to be like that. You know what I mean? Or you got to have a crazy couple of years, or you're just at, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. That's insane. That is literally insane. And so with that thinking, it's probably somebody that ain't born yet. It's going to have to be somebody who can have the longevity as LeBron, and they're probably going to have to be a 3-point shooter. They're probably going to have to be longevity of LeBron with the 3-point shooting of Steph Curry in order for us to get there, or a legitimate alien like Vic, who probably is even more fluid than Vic. But then the thing is, you have to really create a player, because anybody who is as big as Vic probably won't get it, because usually guys at that size, they have injury problems, right? They just what it is. Yao, Kevin Durant even has some injury issues. Like, when you are that size, moving as fluid with those moves and cutting and twisting and turning and pulling up and all of that, injuries come with that. That's why big guys don't have that longevity of a LeBron guy. And you got same thing with guys like Steph Curry, who are 6'3", they can eventually break down, or your athleticism slows up. And once your athleticism slows up, you can't get the same separation on your jump shot. Once you can't get the same separation on your jump shot, you're now shooting tougher shots because opponents are getting better contests and is making a tougher shot for you. So just the perspective and what it means. I don't have no breakdown. I'm not here to put out no theories or anything that you might have seen other people doing. But it's just amazing to me, man. And I felt that way around Kobe, because Kobe was legitimately the genesis of my basketball knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, when I was able to comprehend what was going on the TV when I was watching, it was Kobe on the floor. You know what I mean? Kobe and Michael and Pippen are like the genesis of my basketball-ism, because Jordan was the first pair of shoes I had were Jordan. You know what I mean? My first jersey was Jordan. And, you know, we were in Chicago. I knew Pippen and different things like that. But like, to really grasp, understand, and pinpoint, that's my favorite player, it was Kobe being Bryant. And I felt like I had watched Kobe's entire career and seen everything that Kobe did and everything that Kobe went through on the court, off the court, Olympics, All-Stars, whatever. I had the shoes, I had the jerseys. I remember being in third grade, and for my birthday, I got a Kobe Bryant jersey, and it was the away one, the purple one. But my aunt, because I was such a tall kid, my aunt got me a size that was too small. So my aunt said, all right, I'm going to take it back to the store and get you a new one. When she went back to the store that next time, they had the white Lakers jersey. That's before the white Laker jersey was a thing that was new. And I remember going to school wearing that in third grade, and I had everybody in school like, what the fuck is that? Like, they were shocked, like they never seen it. And it was like the Lakers had wore it once on Christmas Day or something new, and it was like, oh, that's that. But I had that bitch right after, and it was like, whoa. You know, just a coincident type of thing. You know what I mean? Especially in Chicago, you got to understand, we didn't have GOAT and all of these websites and sports fanatics where you can just go online and buy jerseys and shit like that. I'm talking about early 2000s. I'm talking about 2003, 2004. You know what I'm saying? So it was sad seeing Kobe retire, because I'm like, damn, what am I going to do? I'm so used to seeing this dude play, but like, Kobe was just my favorite, and I was extremely biased. But like, when I'm talking about seeing the entire career, that's LeBron James. I have a LeBron James rookie card that I remember getting. I still have it. It's one of those rookie cards that I know when you hear that, you're like, oh my gosh, you might have some, P. It's one of those rookie cards that ain't worth anything, but it's like holographic. And I remember getting that and cherishing that and being like, I'm gonna always keep this. Like, I had it in third grade. This is the rookie deck. It's a bunch of rookies from that class. Kirk Heinrich and different things like that. But I remember I had the LeBron one. I didn't have a Wade or Melo one. I think I had Bosh, Braun, Kirk Heinrich. I might have had Darko Milicic. I had Jarvis Hayes. Look up Jarvis Hayes. Jarvis Hayes was one of the guys that I had. And I remember holding on to that card, like loving that card. That card was precious to me because it was LeBron James. And I'll never forget, I took it to school one time for show and tell. And I was trying to show off going to the bus, and the card fucking flew away. I had to run and get it. I got it. And I remember getting on the bus, and I kissed the card and put it back in the box. And somebody saw me. One of my friends saw me. He's like, what the hell? You just kissed that card? But I still have it all of these years later. 20 years later, I still have that card, man. And it's just a mind-blowing thing to witness it. I'm just one of those people where as a basketball fan, I've lived and I've learned, and I just try to live in every single moment and really grasp it, really sit in it, really understand it, really enjoy it. Because with the passing of Kobe and seeing so many great players from all of these generations, my generation, y'all generation, all type of generations, they just get fizzled out. Like, amazing talents just get fizzled out of the league. The NBA is really like the best league ever. And I know we say that and we know that, but like, you have to really say it to yourself a few times. Like, the NBA is the NBA. It's really the 1%. And that's just getting there. Then also being great there is like a 0.5%. Then being great and being all-time great is like a 0.2 chance of percent. And we got so spoiled over the last generation because we had LeBron, we had Steph, we had Kevin Durant. Like, these are guys that are going to be all-time players. Steph Curry and LeBron James are going to be 2 top 10 players of all time. 2 top 10 players of all time. Russell Westbrook, James Harden. Like, we had, and every generation, every decade, every period has the talent. But man, we're talking about LeBron, like the one. He is the guy that put, and Jordan is the one, but he's the guy that's giving Jordan the most run for his money. You know what I'm saying? As far as like career to career. Obviously, Kobe was the closest thing we've seen to him. But, you know, even as great as Allen Iverson was, Allen Iverson is not on anybody's top 10 list of all time. He's probably top 10 most beloved. We go to war for Allen Iverson for sure. Ain't nobody getting more love than AI. But like career, Tracy McGrady, as much as we love T-Mac, you know what I mean? Like top 10 all time. LeBron is a guy that really is 2. We got to see that. So Even Steph. Is Steph the greatest point guard of all time? We getting two of those guys who can be the best at their position, like crazy, bro. And I just feel like as sports fans, we live in the moment. So we don't live in the moment enough to really accept and grasp the privilege we get to be able to view it, experience it in real time. You know what I mean? These are things that we're gonna tell our grandkids and our children. You know what I mean? And like, it's just wild. This is a record. Like when we 70 years old, there's somebody gonna be like, man, LeBron really had like imagine we can be 75 years old and our grandkids are gonna be like, man, that's just one of those records that's never gonna get touched. And it's like, yeah, I remember when he broke that. Like I remember doing the Heliocentric Podcast. That's back in the day when we used to do podcasts on this little thing we used to do called YouTube, man. It's damn near like the Will shit. Like if you have a grandpa, a great grandpa who was like, man, I was there for the Wilt shit. Like that would be dope. Cause my grandpa is not here no more. And recipes of grandpa, his birthday was March 1st. But I don't have a grandpa who was like, or a great grandparent who was like, man, the Wilt shit was real. I remember listening to the radio when it happened. I remember, hearing the reaction. We went to school and we talked about it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Basketball, I don't even know how the times of basketball, they may not have given a fuck. My grandpa was like, man, I don't think that shit real. Or, it was real, but we didn't give a fuck. We hated basketball back then. I don't know, but it would be dope to have that. And for the LeBron shit, it's going to be one of those things where obviously they're not going to question if it was real. It's obviously real, but we're going to be able to experience that. And it's going to be something that's not going to be touched for a very long time, if ever. That record it might outlive lives and generations for a long time. And we got to witness that, y'all. We got to witness that. Some people ain't going to understand it or ain't going to really feel it like that. But like this basketball shit run through my veins. I eat, sleep, drink it, wake it up to it, go to sleep to it, make money from it. This is my career. This is my life. And to be able to witness it, it's just like, it's phenomenal. So that's my reaction to it. And that's just how I feel. It was something that was special and dope to witness and to continue to witness. And I love that I'm using the word witness with LeBron. But it's real remarkable because I've seen it all. I've seen everything LeBron has done. I've witnessed it. I've been a fan. I've loved LeBron. I've hated on LeBron. Like I've cheered for LeBron. I've went through every emotion you can have with LeBron. When he first came in, phenomenal. But people at school was comparing him to Kobe. I'm a Kobe guy. So I was like, man, stop playing with Kobe. Then LeBron went off to Miami. Didn't really rock with it. Then I seen everybody turn on him, and it was getting a little racy for me. I was getting that type of vibe a little bit from people in high school. And I'm like, you know what? I'm back rocking with LeBron. I like LeBron as the villain. I'm fucking with it. I want him to shit on y'all because y'all taking this shit a little too far. It's just basketball at the end of the day. Y'all going a little too far. Dan Gilbert, the shit he said when LeBron left, all of that letter, and he's cursed and all of that shit. That's when I was like, you know what? I'm back rocking with Bron. This is just basketball, people. He is able to make the decision he want to make without y'all acting like he need to be fucking imprisoned for some shit. Like he really did something. So, and then to see the montage, just the evolution, to be able to see that St. Vincent St. Mary LeBron, the LeBron on draft day, the LeBron carrying a PlayStation 2, the LeBron James with headphones on, the LeBron James with the Hummer, the LeBron James with the first Nike Zoom generation, the $90 million Nike deal. Then to see LeBron become an all-star, to see him in the first finals, to see him carrying those weak-ass Cavs teams, to see him then go to Miami, win his first championship, to see him go back to Cleveland and win with Kyrie and the 3-1 comeback, and to see him go to L.A. And, like, it's just phenomenal. To see him be a father and now his kids is going to college and might be going to the NBA. It's dope, and I'm a fan of it. I think he's laid the blueprint on how to be class personified, professional, and how to do things the right way. And he's really an example of black excellence. So that's my spiel. That's the wrap. LeBron, congrats. It's been amazing watching the whole journey. And the crazy thing is, he ain't even done. He ain't even stretched though. He ain't even done though. As always, this is the Heliocentric Podcast. I am Pee Wee the Plug, your host. And yeah, man, like I said, if you enjoy this type of content, you want to see some of that March Madness content, make sure you subscribe. That'll be coming soon. As always, I appreciate y'all. I'm out. Peace.